listening to the DeCesare Group Podcast. Welcome back. I'm your host, Jim DeCesare, and I'm happy you're here. You know, we are committed to bringing you in-depth conversation about all things impacting business and economic activity in South Central Kentucky. It's a great honor to have this week's guest, Dr. Ryan Quarles. He's the president of the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. KCTCS has 16 community and technical colleges, including SKYCTC here in South Central Kentucky. He's also a former legislator and colleague of mine, a former Kentucky Ag Commissioner, and a ninth-generation farmer at Quarles Farms in Scott County. He has a lot to share about workforce training, the future of higher education in the community college system, and more. Here's my conversation with Ryan Quarles. Ryan, welcome to the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Glad to be with you today.
Well, it's been a long time in the making here because I've been wanting to get you on. You and I have been, I don't know, we've known each other, 15 years, maybe more?
Easy. Overlapped in the house.
Yeah.
Served our hard time together in the General Assembly. But yeah, glad to be with you today.
Well, glad to have you on. So you are the president of the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. You are almost 2 years on the job already. It's hard to believe.
Gone by quick. I started January of 2024 after 13 years in an elected office, and the very next day I left office, I started at KCTCS, and so it's been a wonderful transition.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about some of the latest breaking news, because I just saw something here recently about the enrollment numbers have been record. Talk about that.
Yeah, so KCTCS is the largest higher education provider in Kentucky, boasting over 110,000 students. And just to put that into perspective, that's over 3 times the size of the enrollment of the University of Kentucky, which I'm an alum as well. I'm just saying that's factual, that we are 3 times plus. And so the good thing is that our enrollment continues to go up. At this point, we're up over 6% in this fall. That's on top of an 8% increase in enrollment from last year. And a lot of people ask me, Jim, what's driving this enrollment? Well, number one, it's our value proposition. A lot of students and parents are looking at our community and technical colleges as, wow, I can get my first 2 years of my 4-year degree knocked out at Sky or one of the 16 colleges at half the price of a public 4-year. The second reason our enrollment is really driving right now is that we are looked upon as a workforce entity. So a lot of students know that if I want to be a welder, an electrician, own my own HVAC company, I'm going to go to that local community technical college and get that technical or trade skill, and it's going to lead straight into employment. And the third thing that's really driving us is dual credit, that we work in over 160 of our K-12 districts with providing that early college experience starting at junior and high school. A third of our enrollment are high schoolers. So we're excited that enrollment continues to go up.
And that's a big factor, especially with kids coming out of high school and they have those credit hours already in place, and they, may knock a year off their 4-year visit at a university.
Believe it or not, we have students graduating with a full-blown 2-year associate's degree before they walk across stage with their high school diploma, believe it or not. And we have probably 100 of those a year, including a student from Somerset that is starting Harvard College this fall, already has his first college degree with us, and that's really cool.
Going to Harvard.
Well, going up there with an associate's degree prior to starting. Yeah. And we have students that really look at that as not only a transfer opportunity, but also the ability to save some money, get that college experience. And let's just be honest, Jim, is that there's a lot of people that may not think that they can go to college, but that first class with us while they're in high school, they're saying, you know what, I am college material, and they come back, and it's awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome. And, talking about 161 school districts you work with in the state, I think there's like 171 or somewhere around in there.
That's right.
So, just about any school. Well, I would venture to say that anybody in South Central Kentucky, all the school districts in this region are working with SKYCTC or West Kentucky or whoever.
That's right. And we also welcome students on our campus. So even the homeschool crowd, which we're big supporters of, because they start college with us as well. And so in your listening region, I know, Jim, you're working to build out a national following here with this podcast,
Yeah.
international following. But it's kind of neat that I get to work with a group that I was once a student at. When I was at UK, I took classes at what was then Lexington Community College, now BCTC. We continue to grow, and also don't forget that a third of our students are high schoolers, a third are that traditional age, just graduate high school, 18 to 25 or so. But the remaining third of our students are adult learners. These are Kentuckians that say, you know what, I want to go back to college. I want to finish that degree. Or, you know what, I I want to change my career and learn how to become a welder or a heavy equipment operator, upskill myself. And so it's really interesting to see that we serve Kentuckians of any background. We're the largest provider of GEDs in our state. A lot of folks don't realize that. And also, we're in our prisons, we're in our jails, we're also in our addiction clinics. And guess what? I haven't even talked about the other 80,000 or so Kentuckians that we educate every year. One through workforce training, which I know we'll talk about a little bit later, where companies hire us, thousands of companies a year hire us to upskill their employees. And also, the State Fire Commission is attached to KCTCS. So we educate our 17,000 firefighters across Kentucky every year with annual training as well.
Wow, that's a fun fact I don't think most people realize is that you are in the first responder business too.
That's
Um,
right.
so you are the very first native Kentuckian to lead KCTCS. So I know we've kind of talked about you've given us an overview and all that, but what does it mean to you to be in this role, especially knowing your roots are deep here in the Commonwealth?
I just feel really blessed that somebody from our state gets to work for an organization that is transforming our state. I was really fortunate that my mom was a school teacher. My dad had us working in the tobacco patch at age 6. We continue to farm today. But I'm a former student of our community college system. I know that right now in this time in American history, that there's a lot of criticism and scrutiny towards higher ed. Some of it deservedly so. But my job is to remind folks that education is affordable, it can change your life. And guess what? It's going to change your community as well because 7 out of 10 community college students remain in the county from which they come from, meaning we are the driver of local workforce. People move around, they move out of state, in state, etc. But our stats speak for themselves that we truly are that community partner, hence that word community and community college, that is in many cases the local driving force around our 70 physical locations across Kentucky as well. And as a Kentuckian, who's ninth generation, my family moved here in the 1780s. This is an honor of a lifetime, and it's just another example that I hope I can help work with others across the state to make us a better Commonwealth.
Yeah, so and I know one of the things that you all do is you work with the four-year universities too, and you have collaborations, including with Western Kentucky University. Talk about how those collaborations work together to help those students, transition from KCTCS into one of those four-year institutions or into something else, and then we'll get into the workforce here in a few moments.
Yeah, so at KCTCS, we have three overriding themes and pathways for our students. The first is that transfer path. Let's get you that 4 year and beyond so you can become a doctor, surgeon, lawyer, engineer, economic development person. You have the second path of give me that technical skill I can learn so I can get out and make some money and have a wonderful job, being a lineman, a CDL, truck driver license, etc. And that third path is workforce. But when it comes to our 4 years, both public and the 20 or so privates in Kentucky, we want to make sure that we make that transition as seamless as possible. So since I took office 19 months ago, we have double checked to make sure that that pathway to Western or U of L or UK or wherever is as seamless as possible. So this is literally getting our provost together, and my current provost is Dr. Phil Neal. I'm the guy that's guilty for tapping talent out of Bowling Green, but But with Western in particular, it's not just about making sure that your 60 or so credit hours transfer, which is happening, but also giving an incentive. And so Dr. Caboni and I work together to provide additional scholarships. In some cases, we're waiving that application fees. There's not additional fee for you to transfer into a 4-year. And in some cases, our students are actually living in dormitories at the 4 years while they're studying with us and saving money. And so for us, the message is clear. Whether you start with us in high school, traditional, or adult learner, you want to go to that 4-year experience with WKU or others, you can knock those first 2 years out with us, save some money, and transfer into that program seamlessly. And that is a goal that the General Assembly, the Governor's Office, CPE continues to want us to focus on.
Yeah, and I remember it wasn't too long ago when it was hard to get those credits to transfer over from the community and technical college system. But now, thanks to the General Assembly and the collaborative efforts between the four-year universities and under your leadership, it's becoming more seamless and it makes higher education more affordable as well.
That's right. And so when we talk about partnerships, it's not just the transfer aspect, the affordability, but it's also look at a university like Western. We would love for Western to hire our SKYCTC graduates for programs that Western may not be offering, like HVAC or
Mhm.
maintenance. There's a lot of universities that hire our graduates already. So let's make this a workforce partnership as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about workforce because you talked about that third of adult
Yeah.
learners and some of and they may not be adult learners, they may be coming out of high school and they're looking to get a trade, get into a trade and get a certificate or get something like that. And I know and you work with businesses as well to help develop training programs. And with all the growth, as you know, the South is the third largest economy, I think, in the world, or it's pretty close. It's third in the U.S. for sure. All the economic development growth is happening in the Southeast, and there is a need for robotics. There's a need for industrial maintenance. There's a need for welders. There's a need for a lot of the training programs that you all can help provide those potential industries.
That's right. And so that's the number one call that we hear from businesses is get us a trained, skilled workforce. We're in expansion mode right now. The Bowling Green area is one of the leaders in the state on this. And so I've instructed our presidents and their respective leadership teams to be very receptive towards the needs of businesses. So a couple points here. Number one, we have a fantastic menu of programs we already offer. If we have one of only 4 prosthetic limb programs in the entire country.
Wow.
That's awesome. We are the ones that run hospitals behind the scenes. We are the ones that are so we're the largest nursing school in Kentucky. We're pumping out nurses all across our state. And we're also the ones that are fixing your automobiles and refurbishing diesel engines. And we also have the state's only helicopter school. So we have these really wide, robust programs that have to deal with workforce needs. Number two is that we intentionally take time to listen to the needs of industry. I'll give you one quick example. We have lineman school all across Kentucky. It's a 15-week program. If you're not afraid of heights, you can make $70,000 a year after 15 weeks with us and not have to worry about finding a job. And so one of the things that we heard from industry is like, Ryan, your 15-week program's awesome, but guess what? We're also installing a lot of fiber optics right now. We need some additional training components. So we actually changed that curriculum to include more emphasis on fiber. And that's something we're doing left and right. And then the third thing, as I mentioned earlier, about 3,000 businesses and counting call KCTCS every year and say, we have employees that need to be exposed to the new updated OSHA regs. We need to have a refresher on a new computer program that we installed. We're affordable. There's grant money to help make this happen. And so that's called workforce solutions, where we try to integrate the expertise of our faculty, our staff, come up with a customizable training that is specific to your company. And it also provides revenue to the college. So a lot of folks say, Ryan, it's about tuition and financial aid. Yeah, but it's also about being a good community partner, and we're making some revenue off our training apparatus as well.
That's fantastic. All right, so a lot of changes have taken place, especially down here in this part of the world in the last few months. And you mentioned Dr. Phil Neal is your provost now, who has been on the podcast and
Yeah.
is a good friend of mine, and um, he's an ad hoc book club member, I guess now since he's moved away. But anyhow, we have a new president at SKYCTC. Talk about Michelle Trawick.
We're so pleased to announce that Dr. Michelle Trawick is serving as the new president of Sky CTC. She's a native Kentuckian, grew up in an agricultural family out of Logan County, uh, but lived in Bowling Green, worked for Western Kentucky University, and most recently comes from the University of Nebraska of Omaha. And so, in a way, she's coming back home to help lead one of the more innovative community colleges that we have. She's one of three new presidents we have across the state, including one over in southeast Kentucky and also one in Big Sandy in the Prestonsburg area as well. Dr. Trawick is going to inherit a wonderful college, and her leadership, I think, speaks for itself. And so she's going to be out and about. She already is. She's visiting the local communities. We actually have a brand new campus that I helped get into the budget along with the legislative leaders of your area for the Glasgow area, Berrien County. And so there's a lot of projects going on. But Dr. Trawick's going to be working closely with Western, the business community, and also making sure we're fulfilling the needs of the region. So we're excited to welcome her on board.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening with the Sky CTC, and they just continue to be one of the shining examples in our community. I mean, when we talk about here in South Central Kentucky, what some of the drivers are, and of course, we always talk about our local, state, and federal delegation that
Mhm.
always work together. Our two well, not just two wonderful school systems, but all the great school systems we have down here, and of course Western Kentucky University and Sky CTC. Those are economic drivers in our community, and a lot of people don't look at it that way. I mean, those in the industry, those of us that go out there and recruit industry and try to bring business and economic activity and opportunities to the region. But that's a big selling point. In fact, I met with an industrial prospect just a few weeks ago, and they specifically asked, what kind of training programs do we have? And so
Great.
expand on that, on how that just is, part of our driving force here with our economy is having a great community and technical college system.
That's great. And so sometimes I'm asked, what does success look like at KCTCS? Success is when we're pumping students through the system, that 4-year technical aspect, but it also means that we're connecting with the business needs of workforce training. If you were to ask me what failure looks like, it's when a company contacts us and we're not able to provide a solution or find someone else for them to find that specific solution, or if a ball is dropped. And so I'm leading a large, complex organization across the state. I'm really hammering down that workforce development means transfer, it means technical, and it means workforce solutions as well. That when a student comes to us, regardless of what their background is or their path in life, if they're improving themselves and getting a better job, that is workforce development as well. But back to
Yeah.
the trainings. Trainings are very, very vital for us because I'm going to say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
Not every Kentuckian needs to go to a 4-year university or college.
I don't think that's as controversial as it used to be.
And you're right. Now we do need more people going. We're training for the workforce of the future, so we need more people who have that college going rate. But I think that we've made a lot of progress, and let's be honest, there used to be, and perhaps unfortunately still, a stigma attached to sometimes the technical or what we would call the shop class when I was in high school. And guess what? Those are the students that bought a brand new 4x4 truck, their house is paid off, and they have a bass boat sitting out back. That the salaries that we're offering right now are phenomenal. And although it may not be the case for every student, but every month I'm meeting 20, 21-year-old students whose starting salary is 90,000, 100,000 or above
Hmm.
after they spend a couple years with us. And that's what's really driving this somewhat renaissance in technical and trade in the post-COVID world.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I do want to give a shout out to Dr. Kim Myers.
Yeah.
She does a wonderful job down here with workforce development and training and working with our industries. And so I would be remiss if I didn't mention her and the great work that she's doing.
She's great. She's become a great friend. I was actually on a business Teams call this morning with her, and she represents about one of 200 employees of our 4,000 employee workforce across the state that specifically works just on that business workforce connection. She's great.
Yeah, she does a great job. All right. So talk a little bit about the future. What do you see happening with KCTCS moving forward? I know enrollment's up, so yeah, and I know Ryan Quarles, he's got some plans.
Yeah, well, the General Assembly kicks off in only 4 months, so you can
Yeah.
expect a few things. Number one is that when I was hired, I inherited some challenges, I guess you could say. We have a total of 5 audits that were either concluded or ongoing, including making sure that our financial house is in order, and I feel really solid about that, and presented a plan to our board of trustees to get our fiscal house in order. We also have gone beyond the audit findings with observations. And so I want to make sure that we're legally compliant. There were some issues that we took care of during my first year. Moving forward, I want to make us as seamless and streamlined as possible. I'd like for us to look at Kentucky, uh, at KCTCS as the economic juggernaut of Kentucky, which means we have to go through some internal reforms. And so we'll be running a reform piece of legislation that addresses our governance. It also addresses some upgrades of the Kentucky Fire Commission. It would also puts an emphasis on hardwired mandatory business input opportunities with advisory boards for each of our colleges, which is already happening. We want to make sure that's formalized. But going the next step further is making sure that we are providing adequate workforce needs for all Kentuckians, including jails and prisons. 95+% of all inmates will be released. They will be our neighbors. The best thing to do to prevent them from going back into the system is to give them a training and opportunity to have a welcoming employment situation when they come out as well. And then lastly, I want to make sure that we are looked upon as the best community college system in the country, which means that we have to embrace change. And sometimes change by definition can be hard,
Yeah.
but we got a lot of momentum behind us. We really do.
Well, I know you're doing a great job and you got a great vision. Are you still farming?
I am, and my hands are beat up from a big potato harvest this past weekend. So, as Jim knows, I come from a long line of family farmers, ninth generation, and I'm helping my dad out. We run corn, wheat, and soybeans. We still have a little bit of tobacco, but I do a lot of vegetables. And my dad is so generous. He pays me with experience. At age 41, I get to help him out, but we're still farming here in central Kentucky out of Scott County.
That's awesome. All right, so you've done a lot of different things. We're going to wrap this up and talk a little bit about some of the fun things you've done. Of course, I remember when you were a freshman legislator, um, and so you're a former legislator. You were an ag commissioner for
Yeah.
a few years, but you also have a degree in law.
Yeah, so for me, I guess I was just trying to find my place in the world, Jim. But
Aren't we
I,
all?
I'm a really big believer in that you have to be open to new opportunities in life because you might pass one by that was a great fit for you. And so I'm really blessed that I get to serve in the General Assembly. That has definitely been helpful in my current job with proposing legislative packages. I spent 8 years as the Ag Commissioner. Loved every day of that job, including 8 straight state fairs of 12 days each, which adds up to over 3 months of eating fair food. That was fantastic. And we know economic development occurs in ag every single day, especially down in
Yeah.
your area. that gave me the executive experience. And now where I'm at KCTCS, the first year was a steep learning curve, but I'm right where God wants me to be. I'm very blessed to be where I'm at because I feel like I'm drawing upon the experiences I had before to get me where I'm at. But my dad still thinks that after 7 college degrees, I still haven't learned anything because I still don't know how to weld. And so I might have to pick up my welding certificate as well on the side.
I know where you can go and get that, by the way. I know a place. And then I like to, I want to share a personal story with you that I know about you is that when you were ag commissioner, you were sneaking down to Nashville on the weekends at Vanderbilt working on your doctorate degree. And a lot of Friday afternoons, I would get a phone call from Ryan going, "Hey, I'm rolling through Bowling Green." That says a lot about your work ethic there, because not only were you a full-time ag commissioner, but you were also quietly pursuing another doctorate down at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I kept it quiet for a couple reasons. The first one was I didn't know if I was going to finish it, so I didn't want people to know.
Yeah.
But secondly, my mom passed away in 2013, and she went back and got her PhD when she was an adult student, I guess you could say. And she taught at KSU for 30 years, and she really inspired me. And so after she passed, I started the doctorate program in her memory. And I was so fortunate to have that experience. And I kept driving to Nashville, and people said, "Oh, he's going out honky tonk." And I was like, "No, I'm in class from 4 to 9 p.m. every Friday and all day Saturday. It's not time for that." But I
know you caught a hockey game here or there, didn't you?
Yes, we did. Yeah, good. But you know what? Life is good. I enjoy this chapter of public service in my life. I'm just thankful for everybody that's got me where I'm at, and I'm focused on results.
Yeah. And all right. So before I let you go, you said you spent 8 12-day sessions at the state fair. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but anyhow, 8 sessions, 8 years at the fair, 12 days each year. What's your favorite fair food?
Oh, by far the brisket sandwich. It was brisket o'clock any time of the day. It could be 9 o'clock in the morning, but I had everything from the famous deep fried Oreos to the donut burger, which I could never finish, and even mac and cheese deep fried lobster rolls. Fresh lobster straight out of the Kentucky River, and it was a wonderful fair food. But that's the part of the job that I missed. But guess what? We brought KCTCS to the fair, or we sponsored the welding competition, and we were recruiting students right there at the fair as well.
All right, then I'm going to have to put you on the spot here. You better get this answer right, because I know he's listening. Your favorite ice cream at the state fair?
Oh, Cheney's Dairy.
There you go.
Not only that, Bourbon Crunch, 100%.
Well, we'll let Farmer Carl know that. Hey, Ryan, thanks for being on the DeCesare Group Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. Look forward to get back down your part of the world as well. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks again to Ryan Quarles, president of the Kentucky Community and Technical College System, for joining us this week on the DeCesare Group Podcast, and thank you for checking us out as well. Hey, if you like what you hear, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave us a review and share your feedback with us. You can also follow the DeCesare Group across all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter, SoKy Economic Development and Business News, by going to our website, thedecesaregroup.com. The DeCesare Group Podcast is produced by the DeCesare Group, a public relations and consulting firm based in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Our president of engineering is Justin DeCesare, with content contributions from Brooke Mattingly. The DeCesare Group Podcast is researched by Amy DeCesare. I'm Jim DeCesare, inviting you to join us again next time for the DeCesare Group Podcast.